Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Uncommon Faith. It's your girl LaFlower B here, and I'm so excited. Last week I forgot to tell you guys that I am broadcasting from my creative corner. All of this dope art behind me is either by me or my oldest daughter or my 15-year-old. So we put a lot of fun stuff in this corner. So I like to broadcast my show from here because I get super creative in this corner. So I hope that you guys are excited about this week's episode. And I hope that you enjoyed last week's episode. If you are watching from one of our social media platforms, please like and subscribe. And if you're watching from like Facebook or something, definitely go ahead and share this video. Guess what? I'm about to do it myself. So we want to make sure that because tonight's episode, we're going to be talking about self-care. We're going to be talking about compassion, because those are two things that we do not do a lot of in our community, right? And so I want to make sure that we are able to get the word out to so many different people tonight about our episode. And while I am checking all of our social media platforms, guys, because we want to make sure that everybody knows that we are on, that Uncommon Faith is on right now. I want to go ahead and welcome one of our friends of the show. I don't call her guest because she's a friend of the show. I'm going to have multiple friends of the show. These are going to be different ladies and friends, that I'm going to invite on throughout this season to chat about the topic. So she is amazing. She is a wife. She's a mom, guys. She's a corporate leader. She's a coach. She's in ministry. She's just a flat out phenomenal woman. And that is Miss Regina Brown. So let's go ahead and bring Regina on. Regina, how are you doing, love?
I am wonderful. Hello.
Hello. How you feeling? You feeling good?
I am. My forecast today is bright and sunshiny.
I love it. I love it. I am so happy that today is a bright day and I am feeling so much better. Your girl's been going through. Your
Out of
girl has
there.
been going through, but guess what? I've been pushing. I think I've been, how many days? Like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So
Wow.
Tuesday, 5 days, I have just been out of there. But I've had a lot of time to rest, reflect, everything we talked about last week. I did a
That's
whole lot of
awesome.
resting. I did a whole lot of reflecting. And my body has been able to fight off whatever has been trying to come up against it, right? So
That's
I'm
good.
awesome. So, as you know, this week we're going to be diving into compassion. But the first segment of our show is I know God is real because. And I know you mentioned last week a little bit about why you know God is real or how you know God is real. And I just want to share one of my testimonies this week because I don't think I shared any of them, right? I think I told you guys a little bit. But let me share this one. So, guys, one of the reasons that I know God is real is because I was working for a huge telecommunications company, right? And I was a technician for this company. That just means I was a field technician. So I actually went out and I installed and repaired the service. Regina knows the story all too well. And I was inside an apartment complex, going in and out the gentleman's home, installing his service. And I went into the closet. There's like closets where you're able to do like there's like a networking panel, where all the wires connect inside of the panel. And so I was in this closet. And guys, this guy was a total sneakerhead. So I say this because I remember in this closet, it was me, the network panel, and about 100 pairs of Jordans, just all of it, all of in his closet. And
Wow.
I was in his guest room, guys, and I was installing this service. And so as I was installing this service, a couple other things I noticed about this gentleman. He was pretty flashy. When I went into his bedroom to install his stuff in his bedroom, guys, he actually he had jewelry all on. He was iced out. Like, I don't know if he went to Johnny Dang. I don't know what he did. But guys, he had so much bling just spread out.
Wow.
And he had a snow bunny then. He had a snow bunny, you know, walking around. She was half naked, calling him daddy, you know, all of these things, hey,
I'm all out.
yeah, just everything. It was all out. And so, as I was in this networking panel, guys, I heard someone say, all of a sudden in a very loud, deep voice, where is that blank bitch at? Where is that blank B at? I was like, I think he's talking about me, because he said the name of the company I was working for. And then because I don't want to put the company out there. He said the name of the company, and then he said, where's that blank B at? And I was like, is he? And he said it like 3 times. And then it finally registered, oh my gosh, he's talking about me. So guys, as a tech, of course you have a company phone, you got tools. So I have my little tool belt on, everything. And I'm in this closet and I'm trying to call, some of my coworkers. I'm trying to call my now husband, and there is no service in this closet. Like no bars at all.
Nothing.
No bars. I can't do a SOS. I can't do a 911. I can't do anything. There is nothing. And I was like, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do? And God he just like, go out there. He just like, go out there. He's like, it's better that you go out and meet him instead of him coming in here and finding you. Because I told you in this closet, it was nothing but shoes. It wasn't like it was a pile of clothes I could have hid under or behind. It was nothing, y'all. And so I finally came out with my hands up, and I was just like, I'm here. I'm right here. And he grabbed me. Now, when I went into the living room, I saw that the gentleman whose home I was working at, he was already on his knees with his hands up like this, and he was on his knees. And the girl that was there, she was on her knees and her hands was like this. And he told me to get in that position. So I did it. I was scared. I was so scared because they had guns out. As soon as he saw me, it's like it was a gun just like right there to my face. And getting emotional telling
about it. Take your time.
God is real, y'all. God is so real. And so next thing I know, so I'm looking down. I didn't realize that I looked up. And so when I happened to look up, the gentleman is like, what the F you looking at? Don't be looking at me. Don't be da-da-da. Don't be looking at me. And then he like, you want me to kill you right now? You want me to kill? Then he put the gun to my face again. He was like, you want me to kill you right now? You want me to shoot you right now? Don't be looking at me. And I was like, I'm sorry. He's like, shut up. I'm like, do you want me to answer? Do you not want me to answer? Do you want me? I just put my head down. I'm just like, and I just started praying. I just put my head down and I just started praying. Jesus. And so at that point, I realized it was 2 guys. So it was one that was back in the gentleman's room. I told you all the bling bling was at. And then it was the one who met me when I came out of the guest room. And and then the 2 guys, they started talking or whatever. I guess they was thinking of the next step to this plan that they had. And somehow they decided to put me and the girl in the bathtub. So last week I told y'all, like, I know God is real because I've been in the bathtub. So they put us in the bathtub. And most people know when you get put in the bathtub, you ain't coming out the bathtub because you can clean up a crime scene easy in the bathtub with some bleach. That's what my criminal minds. This is what I'm thinking. This is what
CSI working.
CSI, right? Law and all of that. All of those shows I've been watching. All these years, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I'm thinking of like, Lord, is this it? And so they put us in the bathtub, and somehow they lock us in we hear them doing something with the door. So I guess they're trying to make sure that we're not going to get out. So they put us in the bathtub, and they, tell us, don't you dare move. We about to kill y'all. We about to do this, do that. And wow. And then when they left me and the girl in the bathtub, I'm just like, our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be. I'm just praying and praying and praying. And do y'all know this little girl who was next to me? She had the audacity to ask me, "What you doing?" Do y'all know that? She had the audacity to ask me, "What you doing?" I said, I'm like, why you ain't praying? Like, are you ready to die? I'm not ready to die. And if I am going to die, I'm going to go out praising and praying. Right? But she was like, I was like, look, girl, I was just so gone. I had to just tune her out because she was so frustrated at the guy. She's like, what did he do? At her boyfriend? That's where her frustration was, right? It wasn't even at, the gentleman. It wasn't even at the fact that they could come back in and shoot us both. Because my head was at one end of the tub and her head was at the other. And, we was laying, like this. So next thing we know, they bring the gentleman back into the restroom with us, guys. And he is he a little beat up, I think he had a little blood running from his nose or his lip or something, I ain't look up too much because I'm like, I don't want to see nothing. If I make it out of here, I want to be able to say, I ain't see nothing, because the guy done already told me don't be looking because he gonna shoot me. So I'm like, I'm not looking at nothing else. So when they lock him in the restroom with us, so he's sitting like on the floor in front of the toilet. Both of us are still laying in the bathroom, and she just started cursing him out. She started cursing him out. Like, what did you do? Like, you done did it this time. I told you not to mess with them. I done told you, blah, 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 blah. I was like, wow. And I'm over here, I'm just like trying to tune them out and just, Lord, can you please let me see my babies again? Lord, can you please let me see my mama again? Like, Lord, I'm and all of a sudden we hear somebody at the door again. And my heart just sinks because I'm like, what are they coming back in here for? Is this it? Are they coming to just finish what they started? And but to God be the glory. The guy that was at the door was a police officer. So I don't know who called, because I didn't think my calls went through. I didn't think any of my text messages went through. I tried to call my sister. I tried to call my mama, tried to call my husband now, tried to call my boss, tried to call so many people, text messages. Nothing was going through on my phone. And I know for a fact, those two, they couldn't have called. She didn't have her phone with me in the tub. So I'm like, how did the police know that we were even in there? Right? So we were, and so that was it. And I was like, wow, like God, and I'm just so grateful, continuously grateful that I was able to walk away from that situation. I was able to see my kids again. Right now, I went through a little bit of, PTSD. I'm not gonna lie, your girl was messed up. I was messed up for a little bit because I was like that messed me up for a while because I was grateful, but at the same time, it was a traumatic thing that happened, And so of course I'm praising and thanking God, but I did go to therapy after that. I did take some I did take some medication after that for a while because I was all over the place. And so that's why everybody knows I'm an advocate for Jesus and therapy. Sometimes you need both. And in that situation, I needed both to overcome that traumatic thing that happened. Because when, our phones are our babies, they with us all the time, right? But when this thing doesn't work and the only line,
Come on now.
the main line,
Now you know
I
that call
remember that
won't get
song.
through.
Where my PKs at? Where my old Baptist kids,
Hey,
right? When
he on
Jesus
the
is
main
on the
line.
main line, right? Come on
Tell
now.
him.
Tell him what you want, right?
Yes.
Call him up and he'll fix it. After what? I know I'm not the only one who remember that song, y'all. Put that in the comments if you remember that. But for real, I know God is real because, and like I said, I have so many testimonies. All of us, if we just take some time, Regina, and if we just think about our lives, if we just think about all the situations that we've been in, nothing
Right.
happens by happenstance.
Mm-mm.
Nothing happens just by chance. I don't take luck. come through, Lisa. Yes, call him up and tell him what you want. Nothing happens by happenstance or chance, guys. When God says give him his glory, give him his praise, give him his just due.
Yes.
That's what I did in that situation. And when I tell that story, it's all because of him. Because that situation, because how many times have you guys seen somebody in a courtroom who said, we went there with an intention to rob the person. We didn't intend to kill nobody. Things just went left. That could have been that situation on that day. So I love doing this segment on the show, guys. Come on, Miriam. I love doing this segment on the show because we got to give God the glory. I got to give God the glory. And I would love for this to be a platform just to us to send those reminders of how God loves us and how he cares about us, right? And those God winks that he gives to us, because everything is orchestrated by him, right? He is the master designer. He is the master of everything, everything, guys. So Regina, what you think about that? You listen when you heard the Spirit tell you to go out. You've been doing yes, because your girl was trying to hide. I was about to climb up under that guest bed, the guest room, the guest bed. I was gonna slide up under there, but he had been watching me, y'all. When I went back and thought about it, they knew they was watching that apartment that day. Yeah. They knew that the door, because when we do installs, we didn't lock the door every time we go in and out. We don't ask the customer for a key, because that's an inconvenience for the customer. So they just leave the door open and we just go back and forth. So I'm like, this dude was watching, and that played a toll on my recovery too, knowing that I was being watched for that long, because I had been at that house for a couple of hours with that install. So, but yeah, Regina, what do you think about how God did it that time?
My God, you talk about a testimony and knowing that God is real. I don't know how you couldn't after a situation like that. And I'm giving God the glory for you. Right. And so that's why I think this is an awesome segment, because like you said, to remind people about, what God has done for you in your life. And sometimes we kind of forget those things. We forget where he's brought us from sometimes. And when you sit down and really start taking account, you're like, oh, wow, yeah, I've come through some things. So that's awesome. Yes. I mean, that's just amazing. I just can't do nothing but just say hallelujah. Thank you.
Amen. Amen. Yes. Well, as we get ready to switch gears, guys, in our segment tonight, when it comes to Uncommon Faith, guys, we want to talk about compassion. And Regina and I are both Worthy Method certified coaches. And the Worthy Method is just a belief system coaching method that an amazing woman of God, Miss Shannon Yvette, she created. And this method has been used for so much healing work, not only in her and all of her clients and students that have applied this. And now she's graced us with starting a Worthy Healing Academy and certifying coaches to help the message of worthy get out. Now we can do a whole show on worthy. We can do multiple shows on worthy, but we're not going to just get stuck on worthy tonight. But tonight we're going to focus on, and there's 8 keys in this worthy method, guys, that we teach. But tonight we're gonna land on the fourth key, and that's compassion. Because guys, compassion is, it's like when you look at this key, you really welcome in inner healing when it comes to this, and a soul level restoration through the power of compassion towards ourselves, right? When we learn how to silence the voice of the accuser or that inner critic, you know, we employ a transformational power of self-love and self-acceptance. Compassion is so powerful, so powerful. Regina, when you think about the fourth key, compassion and self-care, what comes to mind for you?
Wow. This is such a huge key. And honestly, it wasn't until I really got into it and it was unpacked for me that I really understood compassion, right? And that it has to start with us, with self-compassion. Because we, often we so concerned about others, and we hit on this last week, but we're so wrapped up in taking care of other people and being aware of how others are feeling and how we're affecting them and all of that, that we forget to give that same attention to ourselves, to give ourselves the same grace that we give other people, and so yeah, this key is absolutely huge. Yeah, it's so much to learn from it.
So much. It's so much. But one thing I realize is that having self-compassion, it's truly one of the golden rules that we say all the time, but we don't apply it to ourselves. When we say love others as you do yourself, right?
Yeah.
But so many times we love others more than we love ourselves. We give others more grace than we give ourselves. We give others more chances, but when we flip the script on ourselves, we're our biggest critic.
Yes.
We down ourselves more, right?
Mm-hmm.
We don't give ourselves enough rest, like we talked about last week. So
Mm-hmm.
many things. And so we have to get to a point of self-care, self-love, self-compassion, all of that, making it a daily practice and knowing that it's not selfish. It's not selfish for you to have compassion for yourself. It's like, and we have to tear down this wall of being a strong Black woman. Yeah, we can be a strong Black woman, but she also needs compassion. She also needs self-love and self-care, right?
Absolutely.
Now, Regina,
Absolutely.
go ahead.
No, that's fine.
No, I was just saying, one of the things that when I went through this key I realized that I had done my younger self such an injustice.
Mm-hmm.
Especially in my early 20s, my early 30s and things like that. I did that girl wrong.
Yeah.
I overworked her. She was underpaid because I wasn't paying myself. She was underappreciated. She was in relationships that I kept her in relationships that she didn't deserve to be in. I did my girl so wrong.
Yes.
So
Yes.
how about you? Did you reflect that much when you went through this compassion, or was yours just more in where you are now?
Oh my goodness. No, absolutely. Because when you start to really understand the self-compassion, you can't help but go down that road, because part of that compassion is reflecting, right? And to really understand, I can't get to a place where I'm really being compassionate to myself and giving myself what I need until I've sat down and realized where I didn't do it, right? And so when you take the time to do that, you end up realizing, hey, if I can let, my friend call me, they need me, I'm doing this, I'm there for you, whatever you need, but then I can't do the same thing for myself, right? And then, like you said, the golden rule, we focus on the part where it says God to love, right? We're supposed to love everyone else, but then we miss that part where he says you love yourself, right? Because he knows that we have to start with ourselves. We have to be able to be confident and good with ourselves before we can really give that out. And so in unpacking the self-compassion, I found that there's condemnation in that. When
Mm.
you don't have self-compassion for yourself, there's also guilt wrapped up in that. There's so many things that we are taught to believe. For instance, I'll give you an example. I would always tell people, well, I consider myself a perfectionist, right? Like I have to do it and do it until, I get it right. And if it's not, then I'm not accepting it.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to learn there's a difference between a standard of excellence, right? And then trying to hold yourself to a standard that's not giving yourself the same grace as I would give one of my employees.
Oh,
So I'm like,
oh, come on
what
now.
what makes you so much better that you can't make mistakes? It's okay to make a mistake. We grow and learn through our failures. And
Right.
so everything is not going to always be perfect. So I had to learn how to give myself compassion in that respect, right?
Mm-hmm. I like that. I like that. That's so big, so big. Now, and another thing that I realize is that sometimes, well, let's jump into the voice of the accuser, the inner critic that
Mm,
we have, right?
come on now.
Because I'm in my head a lot. I stay in my
All
head.
day. Come
I'm
on.
in my head a lot. I'm constantly thinking. I don't want folks to look at me like this. I don't want folks to see me like this. She got a big family. My kids they can't be running around like this. Y'all can't be in the
What?
store acting like, don't go up and act like you ain't ate today. So I'm constantly thinking more of, like, my inner critic is more about what I want the
Pleasing.
perception of other. I don't want the perception of other people to be about me and my family,
Mm,
versus my inner critic should be against, okay, what is the standard that I have? What is the morals that I have for me and my family? What is the standard that we've set for ourselves?
right.
That's what I should be measuring myself up to. Okay, how do we measure up against the goals and the standards that we have for our
Correct.
family, versus
Absolutely.
measuring up against the culture and the standards for the perception of people who really don't even give a damn about me in the first place.
Come on. Now, you've said a whole mouthful. And, once you can get to that place, you're also going to find yourself at a place of peace. Why? Because I don't care what you think, right? I don't care if you don't like the way I talk. I don't care if you don't like the way I look. I don't care. I really don't care. And
Right.
so, not to say that I am being, nonchalant about different things, but at the end of the day, to the point where it's not going to affect me and how I feel about me, because I know who I am. And again, that main word, I know my own self-worth. And I'm working in the scripture in Colossians 3, I believe, where we work to please God. Everything we do is unto him, not unto man. Right. So I'm not out here doing this to please you and make you happy. But instead, I know if I'm doing what's expected by him, then I gotta be good.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Now hold that. I know we got to get ready. We got to take a break real quick, but hold that. Hold that right there in your mouth. Just
I'm
hold it.
holding.
Grab it and hold
I'm
it.
holding.
And we'll be right back, y'all.
Life is better when you are living on purpose, but many times we get stuck in the rat race and in the mundane task of our day-to-day lives, causing most to lose sight of their purpose. That's why certified life coach, inner healer, and business strategist LaFlower B is here to help you get calibrated to your calling through proven systems, techniques, and resources. Order a copy of her book, Principles to Reposition, to assist you with your journey, or schedule a free clarity session to kickstart the journey. After these sessions, clients have stated they found clarity and opened their eyes to things they had long forgotten. So get social and follow LaFlower on all social media platforms at LaFlower B. And don't forget to mention Stunner Radio sent you.
All right, guys. So, Regina, what did you just have in your mouth before we went to break?
Okay. I had to pick
Repeat
up
that
because
script.
I had a
Repeat
quote.
that
I
script
found a
for me
quote
one more time.
that went
Repeat
right
that.
on along with what we was just saying now.
Okay, what
So
you
it
got? What you
says, because one believes in oneself, one doesn't try to convince others.
got? Ooh,
Because one is content with oneself, one doesn't need others' approval. Because one accepts oneself, the whole world accepts him or her.
my goodness. That's one of my favorites. Can I say
I
that?
think that's Lazoo, like a Lazie or something like that.
Yeah. I don't know the name. That's what I'm saying. But it's one of my favorites. It's not
Yes,
mine.
and I'm like that. That really sums up what we were talking about in that that self-acceptance. And in self-acceptance, you get freedom. There's freedom in that because it's like you're loose from those from the boundaries or the bounds of being bound of
Yes.
trying to please other people. So there is truly
Yes.
freedom in accepting yourself. And it's not what do you call it? It's not arrogance. And things like that, just because you take time for yourself and you I'm okay with myself. Now granted, there's a difference. I think there's a level where we can get too self-involved and self-indulgent, but I think that we don't understand the difference sometimes, and that's why it's frowned upon sometimes. Because if I'm like, oh, Regina's good, if I'm talking about Regina, then oh, she's so self-involved and no, that's not what it is. But I am trying to take care of myself and tend
I
to
mean, yeah.
myself.
Sometimes we do speak about ourselves in third person. Sometimes we do. Hey, it happens, right? And you're right, because somebody poses a question, does self-compassion set you up to be a slacker? Does self-compassion set you up to give yourself too much grace or give yourself too much leeway and things? But that goes back to what we talked about last week, guys. And if you missed last week's show, make sure you go back and watch it, because we were talking about resting, reflecting, rejuvenating, repenting, all of that. So if you are taking your rest, if you have acclimated or added in some type of sabbatical or rest, if you want to call it rest instead of sabbatical, pause into your life, then you will not be set up to be a slacker, guys. It's impossible, because after you come out of that resting phase, out of that, whether it's a day or an hour, whatever, you're gonna see that, hey, you're gonna see your progression. You're gonna see how you're moving, right?
And you know what?
Go ahead.
To kind of put that, sometimes I know when you hear, oh, take time, rest, self-reflect, sabbatical, it we're not really grasping it. So what I like to correlate it to is like those quiet times. Have you ever noticed that when you are driving in the car and it's just you, right? Or when you're doing the dishes, or when you're in the shower, when you're doing those things in that quiet time, when you've kind of disconnected from other things, that's when you find clarity. That's when you get those answers that you've been looking for and different things like that. And ultimately for me, that's what the pause is. That is what that sabbatical is that we're talking about. It's just taking that minute to get that clarity and get the time that we need. I take several holy pauses through the day. Can I tell you? Today at work, I had to take several holy pauses. Okay.
I took one before work, during work, after work.
Yes.
Sometimes we got to do it. You're right. We have to, in order to stay calibrated. We definitely have to, because compassion is rest. Compassion is rest. All right, so let's jump into self-care, because I know there's so much talk these days around self-care and self-love and self-this and self-that, right? Mm-hmm. When I think about self-care, I kind of equate it almost to, because we all want to walk in queenship and have our queendom and all of these things, right? So I think about Esther. And I think about Esther before she was brought before the king, mm-hmm. right? Esther had to go through some oils, some treatments, and it wasn't just a one-time
year,
right?
A whole year of
preparation in order to be able to operate or even be worthy enough to stand before the king.
To go before him.
To go before him, right? And so I don't want you guys to take that away when I'm, the point is, compassion and self-care should be so intentional, and it should be so intense for you, because in your mindset, you should be thinking, okay, I'm doing this so that I can constantly level up, so that I can constantly walk in my queendomhood. Queendomhood. That's my new word, y'all. Queendomhood. Hashtag queendomhood. So
let's see the hashtags come through.
Somebody put hashtag queendomhood for me, please.
Queendomhood. Come on.
But yeah, because it takes time. It takes time for us to constantly, and then we have to do this as we're going through different phases in life, as we're going through different phases in our jobs, in our careers, in our businesses. And so that's why compassion is so important, because you got to be intentional. Thank you, Lisa.
Yes, thank you, Miss Lisa.
But this is so important, guys. Just like they use all of those essential oils with Esther. She took all of those baths. She did all of those things. And that was a form of self-care and self-love for her to even go through the process. Because how many of us give up on the process before we get there?
Uh-oh.
How many of us give up on the process before we even reach a point where we can walk in our queendomhood? It took Esther a whole year. How many of us like, I'm not doing that just so I can go stand before him? I don't even know if he's gonna want me or not. But let's flip that into our business. I'm not doing that.
Come on.
What if this business is not even gonna be successful? Let me go find something else that I can go do where I know I can make some quick money. Right? Do we do that in our careers, in our business? You know, my oldest, she's in school. She's a senior in college. She's getting ready to go to med school. She could easily say, I'm not doing that. That's going to take too long. Right? But that's self-love and compassion, right? Because we're being intentional about our actions. We're being honest and transparent with ourselves.
Absolutely. And
when we constantly do that, we're able to silence that critic. Right? Because if I was Esther, I don't know. That inner critic would have been like, that accuser would have been like, you ain't worthy to be up in here. Right? Look at all, she prettier than you. She love you. Look, she's more curvy than you. She's more beautiful than you. And she's not a Jew. Right?
Come on now.
Right? Lisa said, I have learned to listen to the voice of God, especially when it doesn't make sense. That's how I come into. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
I gotta make me a shirt to say Queendomhood.
That's awesome.
But it's like, don't allow, if you're not showing yourself compassion, you're going to talk yourself out of the voice. You know, you're going to talk yourself out of it. The voice, you hear a clicking noise, Regina?
Absolutely, dude. Yeah, I think that was my earring. I think hitting.
Oh, you was over here clicking. All right.
I think that was me clicking.
Anything else?
It was getting good to me. It was getting good.
Oh my gosh, you are something else. All right. So what else was self-care? So what would be some tips that you would give some ladies who are like, you know what? I've been hearing a lot about this self-care. Where do I even start?
Well, I say, I think I mentioned this before, though. I would start with the journaling, because that will help you to take that time and pause, because you got to take the time to self-reflect and journal daily, sometimes twice a day. I know in Principles of Repositioning by LaFlower B, she, provides a
There you go.
She provides a morning reflection opportunity as well as an evening reflection opportunity. So I think definitely starting there. And when you start there, then you'll start to get those revelations of what else you need and how, much further you need to take this.
Oh, I like that. That's so important. And then another thing that I've realized, like, as I was on this 5-day pause, where I was moving slow, barely moving sometimes, in the bed most of the time.
Not
talking much at all. Yes, meditating is so important, Dr. Virgil. God reminded me, because I know I fast a lot, right? But I was able to kind of connect compassion for myself with what I'm putting in my body. Right? Because I got a snack drawer. Got a snack drawer.
Me too.
My nightstand. I got the bottom drawer of my nightstand. It's a snack drawer.
One at home and one at work. I'm working on it though.
The snack drawer, right? But really God is showing me, it's like what I'm putting in my body. Am I being compassionate to myself with some of the stuff that I'm putting in my body? What's life without snack drawer, right, Lisa? So during this time, guys, I actually started switching out things in my snack drawer. I started taking out things that, really was doing damage to my body instead of doing good. Right. And so I'm trying to get myself to the point that if I'm going to put something in my body that's not going to do it good, I'm going to have to go the extra mile to get it. I'm not going to make it easy.
That's good. That's good. I like that.
Right. Right. Because so many times the things that aren't good for us, they're right there at our fingertips.
That's
right?
the easy. That's the easy thing.
Stuff. That's right there. And so
you know what popped in my head right there?
What?
That man you ain't supposed to be messing with.
Oh.
He's the one that's right there. Easy access.
Oh, say it.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean, but hey.
At 3 a.m. No. That's all flour, y'all. That's all flour. Don't judge me. Don't judge me. All right. But yeah, I was thinking about food and how that deals with compassion.
That's good. I think you can, and then you go from the food and then you go into the health, right? So God has had to deal with me with exercising and taking care of my body, because he's like, Regina, how can I use you? I've only given you one body to use. So either you're going to take care of it or what? It's going to be gone. You're not going to have it anymore. So we have a responsibility to take care of what God has given us. And this body, this vessel, is something that we have to take care of. Right? Because I realize the capacity that I want to be used in and the things I want to do. I have to ask myself, Regina, are you physically able to do these things? So, we ask for things, and it's like, sometimes God hasn't given us things because we're not ready. And we talked about that at a different aspect. But in this way, I'm talking about, I got to stop and take care of Regina, build my capacity to be able to handle more and receive more. And in that, it's like, okay, I care enough about me to get up and go for a 30-minute walk. I can do that.
Say it. And I know some of my saints are gonna get mad at what I'm about to say. I'm sorry, saints. I'm just
we love you.
I just got to keep it real. Some folks is just so holy. So you're gonna get mad at what I'm about to say, and I'm sorry.
Speak the truth, please.
But you know how I feel about that when it comes to our service and when it comes to our kingdom work. I think that it is a doggone shame that obesity, or how we treat our temples, how the mistreat of the temple is one of the only sins that the church doesn't call out.
Oh, it's not. It's one you don't hear much about, but I'm not gonna say it's not. It's one of the only ones we don't call out.
We don't hear about it. We don't hear about it much.
We don't. We don't.
Yeah.
We don't hear about it. We don't hear about it in respect, as a sin. We don't hear about it in that way, right? Exactly. That this is something that, this God is not pleased with this. Well, she said that's so true, because the church who would lose 1 million members if they did. My God, it's something about speaking the truth.
And those we do our work, and that's sin it's sin. Some of us are sinning with gluttony. Some of us are sinning with, I eat when I'm nervous. I eat when I'm happy. I eat when I'm mad. I eat when I'm sad. I just eat. I love food. It's like I will spend more money on food than sometimes clothes. It's like I'm guilty. Cool. I'm cool. And my husband, he ain't no better, because he encourages.
We do it together. We do it together.
It's like, go drop a couple $100 on a dinner. Cool.
Yes.
It was amazing.
Yes.
Can't wait to go back.
We got to do better. Oh my.
Boom, Lisa, boom.
Come on.
I'm telling you.
She might drop it.
Come on. But it's so true. And we got to get better. We got to get better because.
And I think that's great that you brought that out, because we often look at sin as the 10 commandments. And if I'm in line with these 10 commandments, then I'm good. But it's so much more than that. And so, yeah, absolutely. Self-care is something that is expected of us.
It is. It's so expected of us, you know, and we're going to go ahead and get off of that because I don't want to go down that line tonight, but we got to do better. I was going to say, we got to do better as kingdom people, right? And like you said, some of us have not received, God hasn't opened up some doors for us, right? God hasn't expanded that church for them. God hasn't, opened up those windows for those blessings to come flowing through, because we're not sometimes physically or mentally able to carry the weight of them. And if He did give it to us, we mess it up. We mess it up, and physically we wouldn't be able to handle it.
That's right.
Some of us have international assignments, but you can't handle an international assignment because you haven't showed enough compassion to your body, right? Your body can only handle your community.
That's it.
And it can't handle no international assignments.
Right. We gotta do better. That's what's waiting for you.
Exactly. That's what you've been called to do. But the doors haven't opened because we haven't done that. I know it's plenty of doors that have been closed and didn't open until I put myself in a better position to walk through them.
Absolutely.
Plenty of positions that were closed when I was a mistress and wasn't a wife. I had to get myself together. Hey, I gotta keep it real.
Come on now.
It is what it is.
Yes, it is. It's true.
Next book, telling y'all everything. 20 lessons learned.
Help
along the way, the journey to being a wife.
Come on.
I know some of my saints and my holy people go be mad, but hey, it is what it is. I'd rather tell the truth.
I'm a saint and I'm holy and I'm good.
Exactly. But it's time that we really start being real and stop all the smoke and mirrors, because at the end of the day, people's souls are at stake. Actually, our mind, body, and souls are at stake, right?
That's it. Yes, absolutely.
Everything is at stake. And we out here playing with people and things and spirits and stuff that they're not playing fair.
What just popped in my mind was, because obviously this is a topic that's heavy right now, and that is the passing of Dmx.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you talk about the church, and my understanding is, he went into several churches and preached and brought messages and different things like that. And at the same time, his soul, he was still struggling, right? Struggling with caring for his own self, right? And so it's like, when you look at the church, we have to learn how to care for our entire selves, like you said, mind, body, and soul, because even though we have people, we're in there day and night or what have you, we are losing people to battles that they are having because we are not caring for ourselves and not teaching that and the importance of that.
Love it. You're so right. I listened to a very heartfelt video that one of his that Swiss Beats made about him, because they were like, Rough Riders like all day.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Swiss said that. He said X would pray, because X would pray over everybody. He would pray at his concerts, like, Jesus, come on, we about to do this. But he said one thing X did. He said X prayed more for others and cared more for others than he did for himself.
Yeah.
he wanted to get help. He said he never had a Lamborghini. He never, he had a couple, pieces of jewelry, but he was never iced out like that. He's like, he didn't care about all this stuff. $30 million in the bank. All of that stuff didn't matter. He cared about people.
Mm-hmm.
He cared about people's souls and things, but he cared more about them than he did for himself. And you're right. We have to make sure that we are connecting people, to make sure that we are getting all the help that they need, because mental health is real.
Yes,
I know he went through a whole lot of traumatic stuff when he was younger.
Yes, he did.
He really healed from that. Let Miriam say, if the saints are mad at truth and they're closer to boop. Yes.
That's the truth.
Yes.
That's what I said. I'm not mad. I'm good.
Yes,
the
I love it.
Truth will make us free.
It will. All right, guys. So now we're going to transition into our sister check.
Uh-oh.
Tonight, our sister check. So it's sister check time, guys. And the sister check tonight is the number one word that men hate to hear. The number one word that men hate to hear. All right. So, Regina, can you guess what the number one word that men hate to hear is?
I have some thoughts, but I really want to know what's coming in on the comments. I'm really interested in seeing these comments.
All right, guys. So give us 1 or 2 comments, and you guys take a guess on what's the number one word men hate to hear.
Off the dome? Like straight off the dome?
Yes.
I'm like, marriage.
Okay, you say marriage. Okay. Communication. All right, guys. So drum roll.
Yeah, marriage, commitment. What is
so
it?
The number one word that men hate to hear is no. No. N-O.
I can't say that's just a man thing, no.
But it messes with the man's ego.
Absolutely.
More.
Absolutely. Yes, thank you, Lisa.
No. Right. We hate to hear no. But it won't mess us up as much as it does to a man, because a man is supposed to be respected, right?
I said boo.
Mary was crazy talking about boo. But yes,
absolutely.
Men hate to hear no.
You're right. You're right.
Go ahead, Gina.
No, go ahead, sis.
No, I was saying I took this from a part of the new book, from my mistress.
Okay. Go ahead.
From my mistress says, because you know my story. I didn't want to be married. I didn't want to have kids. I still owe you about $1,000. You ain't a DM. It's all good though. But guys, I'm telling you, and just having conversations with men, just in the men weren't intimate with them, but just having conversations with men who are in relationships and men who were married. They hated when their women would tell them no just off the rip. Like she got to a point. There's so many women that get to a point where you just start saying no before you even think about it. No before you even consider it. No before he can even get the question out of his mouth. And that burns them up to the core.
You are telling the truth. You are absolutely telling the truth. And like you hit on the fact that it hits their ego, which in turn touches them in the level of respect. And I got to tell you that this is another topic for you at a later date, but it's for those that have lost our voice. That lost our voice because you get that type of reaction from your man. And every time you do speak up and say what's on your mind, and if it isn't contrary to what they're saying, and then it leads to a whole big whatever, you get to the point where I'm going to just keep my no inside.
Right. And I think that comes from us not knowing how to communicate with each other.
That's it. Absolutely.
From the jump, right? It's like we get to a point, because I know in my marriage, me and Marcus had a breakthrough, and this wasn't that long ago, where I told him, it's like, for so many years, I didn't want to tell you no, because in my mind, I'm like, I know these men don't want to hear no. I'm like, so I'm just like silent. You can't hear me?
No, I can hear you. I was
Okay.
stopping the knocking.
Oh.
Was checking through her.
Oh. And so I just didn't tell him no, right? I didn't say anything, and that did damage too. And so that is a great topic for another show. When we lose our voice, it's like, how do we effectively communicate? And that goes back to sometimes we got to share what we got to share with them, and we just leave it on the table and let them process that. So you don't have to go back and forth. Or sometimes you got to take one of my mentors told me, she says, LaFlower, y'all need to take a walk outside. Like, if y'all need to have tough conversations, go walk outside or go to a restaurant. Y'all not gonna act no fools in a restaurant. I was like, you're right. I don't want to be on nobody's YouTube today. I don't want to be on nobody's Facebook Live, going off.
That's right. And you leave it there. It does not come back home.
Right. Yeah. Right. You leave it there. Okay. But as we get back to the no, so Regina, have you ever found yourself in a situation with your husband or relationship where you where the no was flying off? Like the no was like, it was just like fiery darts of no. Yeah.
Out of my mouth?
Out of your mouth. Like to him, like no. Especially when it came, maybe this is too personal. Like even when it came to sex, because a lot of women, we use sex as a weapon, And so sex is one of those number one. No, not tonight. Nope.
Absolutely. You can't do 26 years together and not hit that no place sometime. And so, but you're right. It does fire off, and sometimes later on, I'll be like, you know what? I didn't have to say no. I really didn't have to. I didn't have to oppose what he was saying, but you get so used to doing it that, like you said, before you know it, it's just then fired. Right. Before you even had a chance to really stop and think it through. But that comes in growth. That comes with growth, and advancing through your relationship and learning to learn to know each other's communication styles, right? And things like that. So yeah, but absolutely.
Good. You're right. It does come with growth, because it's like when you realize that you don't have to use, especially when it comes to being intimate and sex and stuff, as a tool against him.
Right. Oh yeah.
Right. Let me make sure he, no, you ain't, no, because you ain't do that, or you ain't da 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 da. You don't have to do that. But ladies, I challenge you to tell your husband, your spouse, your boo thing, tell that man yes this week more than you tell him no. Tell him yes more this week than you tell him no. Or pause before you say no to him. And ask yourself, am I saying no just because out of spite, or just because by default, like I'm just programmed to say no? Or think about it before you actually spit off that no. Because it really hurts him. It really puts a ding into his armor. It really. And go ahead, Gina.
You know what else? Because we're talking about the ego, but by saying yes, that gets the ball rolling. But I also challenge you, ladies, to compliment him.
Compliment that man.
Give him a compliment here or there throughout the day, baby. You sure is looking mighty Kingdom Warrior like today. No, I just
no, but not Kingdom Warrior.
Come on. Call him Lord. Call him your king, and just see what that does to him.
Call him watch Zaddy.
Come on.
Z-A-D-D-Y. Call him your Zaddy. Give him a new nickname this week, y'all. So that's your challenge for this week, ladies. I challenge you to not say no as much, right? Tell him yes more, and to compliment him. Pay attention to the little things. When he get that fresh haircut, let him know. Like, my.
Looking good. Come on,
All right,
Daddy.
guys, we got to get ready to wrap up. I hope that you guys enjoyed this episode of Uncommon Faith. Again, if you are watching on YouTube, like and subscribe. If you're watching on Facebook, like and share, guys. And if you're watching from one of our podcast platforms, definitely rate us and give us a comment below. We love you guys. There's nothing you can do about it. Grace and peace. Until next time. Bye.
Hey, it's your girl Lisa Dene, and I want to tell you about a product that has changed my life. Rain Premium Sanitary Napkins. Rain products are infused with a Nobel Prize-winning material called graphene. It's the graphene strip that provides the various health benefits that can improve your quality of life during that time of the month. Listen, I've been very loyal to a certain brand of feminine products, but I've never experienced the results I get with Rain products. The difference is in the graphene strip. Using Rain products has totally eliminated the painful cramps I experience, and it can also help balance your body's pH, eliminate harmful bacteria, and help fight fatigue. Graphene moves heat away from your core to keep you cool and comfortable. Ladies, it's time to upgrade your feminine care with products that not only offer protection, but also improve your health and wellness. Place your order today and receive your premium sanitary napkins delivered directly to your door. Visit www.drfcare.com to make your purchase today. And don't forget to mention that your girl Lisa Dene and Stunner Radio sent you.